Representative Madison Cawthorn has plans. He's got plans for America. In fact, that plan involves a contract with America that I'm guessing most of America won't want, but he's going to try to push it on us anyway. So now, in this 10-point plan, which involves basically a laundry list of conservative priorities, including destroying Social Security to incentivize older Americans to work. Yes, that's right. We're going to send them back to work. So now, let me read through a little bit of this. First, the plan calls for the federal government to promote and celebrate American manufacturing and agriculture by incentivizing domestic production. Now, sounds all nice and good, but domestic production isn't as much of an issue. I mean, look, is domestic production good? Yeah, generally, yeah. Now, here's the thing. These are the same people that are complaining about how there's not enough workers to do the production. Oh, nobody wants to work. Nobody wants to work, which is why we need to incentivize people to work. Well, how do the Republicans incentivize people to work? By doing things that basically help only their donors and not actually incentivizing people to work. So look, let me give you an example, right? So there was a great resignation, which basically means a bunch of people quit the service industry and went on to do different, better paying jobs. Because look, during the pandemic, a lot of people who are older, they ended up retiring because of all the shutdowns, or, it was this time. And okay, they quit. They opened up a lot of these higher paying jobs. And then of course, there were a lot of people in the service industry that realized how bad they were being screwed over. And so how low of pay that they were getting, how much their bosses didn't actually give a goddamn about them because they had to deal with this pandemic. They had to deal with unruly customers who did not appreciate them. They didn't have to do any of that. The companies didn't actually care about any of that stuff. They did not care about their workers. And so, of course, the workers were like, okay, well, guess what? I'm going to go and I'm going to find a better job. Ironically, that's exactly what conservative politicians told them to do. Hey, man, if you don't like the low minimum wage, well, that's okay. Just get a better job. Get a higher paying job then. Okay. All right. Nobody wants to work anymore. Why does nobody want to make my hamburger? Why does nobody want to make my shakes and my fries? Why does nobody want me to, yell in their face for forgetting their pickle? Okay? No, nobody wants to deal with that. Nobody ever wanted to deal with that. Nobody ever wants to be in this restaurant getting yelled at by somebody for being asked to put on a mask. So they left those jobs. Now, but again, the right is like, how dare you leave those jobs? Now we don't have anybody to hire. And so now the replacement, I guess, is that they're trying to figure out how can we get other people to do these jobs? Because we're not going to raise wages. That's not going to happen. Of course not. Are you kidding me? No. We're going to try to institute child labor. I'll let 14-year-olds now work at McDonald's. Or we're going to get rid of Social Security or cut it and then make it so that old people or disabled people will now be working at fast food. So now, let's go to Cawthorn's plan here that he introduced to Fox News Digital, which includes, shockingly, or not shockingly, slashing government spending by a third by 2031, enacting a balanced budget amendment. Hey, going back to that slashing government spending, well, we could easily do that. You know why? Or how? Cut the military budget. Oh, they can't handle that. No, what they mean by cutting government is basically cutting anything that helps regular working people or poor people. Interesting, of course. Now, another litany of just ridiculous stuff. Banning federal funding for critical race theory, making English the official language of the United States. Yes, somehow That's going to be part of the new contract with America to somehow make America better if we make it English, the official language. It makes no difference here. Enacting school choice, so basically giving more money to these private schools, charter schools, things like that. Again, that would include religious private schools. Cawthorn's contract also calls for legislation to impose term limits. I'm not exactly as opposed to that one, but of course, do any of these people actually really would have term limits? I'm thinking that that's a gimmick. I don't know. I just get this feeling that any politician that's like, hey, let's do term limits. You're going to do a term limit on yourself? Or are you going to find some weirdo way to grandfather yourself in? Hey, oh, term limits for me, or not for me, but for thee. Nope. Okay. Now, they would also, of course, pay for a study on decades of failed governance at urban centers. So, wait. So you're going to pay for a study, to have a study on how government has failed at the city level, while complaining, of course, and generally looking at this from a financial perspective, this is what they look at. Oh, I can't believe you're spending so much money. You're so fiscally irresponsible, city. But we're going to spend a bunch of money to study while you're such a failure at spending money responsibly. It doesn't make any sense to me. They would also ban federal funding for cities that defund the police or provide sanctuary to undocumented immigrants. Again, this is the same conservative playbook. Other provisions include abolishing the 1934 National Firearms Act that taxes guns, finishing former President Trump's border wall, again, gigantic waste of money, and breaking up big tech monopolies. If they would actually break up monopolies, I would be in favor of it. But once again, conservatives, they would never break up a monopoly. I don't think they believe in it. And then, of course, they would demand that China compensate the United States for COVID-19. But the Social Security part, getting to that, they say that they would want to turn around the mismanagement of Social Security because Americans want to help the needy by incentivizing people to work and get off entitlement programs. Wow. You know that Social Security is literally your money, right? I mean, you paid for that. That is an entitlement. It's yours. You're entitled to it. That's what an entitlement is. So you pay it, and guess what? You're able to retire. Cawthorn is basically saying, hey, people on Social Security, no, we want you to get off Social Security, the thing that you paid for and paid into your entire life, and get your ass back to the mines. Get back to work. Because we're going to incentivize you to go back to work by taking away your money. Your money. They're taking it out of your pocket that you paid. I mean, that's insane. And this is their platform. Now, of course, it's not going to pass through the House unless you have a Republican majority, which, again, yeah. We'll see if that happens. It's possible. It's possible. But look, here's the thing. And by the way, they're also going after disabled people. Yes, disabled people who the workforce regularly exploits. You should go back to work and let the employers exploit you more. Even if you're not physically or mentally able to do a job, well, that just makes you even more exploitable. So yeah, get back to work. Get back to work. Does he actually understand what a real incentive for work is? Pay. Good pay. People will work in your jobs if you pay them enough. If you don't pay them enough, they're not going to want to work in your jobs. It's very, very simple. But here's the thing. Getting back to Madison Cawthorn, right? So now, while he's attacking the elderly and the disabled, Madison Cawthorn, the irony is not lost on him that he is disabled himself. Now, here's the thing, though. He doesn't need that government check to survive, which is very, very minimal, by the way. There's not a lot of money made on Social Security. These people are barely scraping by. But because he is a congressman and gets a very comfy, cushy government check, well, I mean, he's fine. So he doesn't need that government paycheck because he gets a government paycheck. Wait, what? Right. Now look, the vast majority of people that are going to be harmed by this are the people who live in poverty and depend on these government benefits because they're not able to work. They have disabilities, or they're retired, they're elderly people, and in some cases, by the way, also do work already. They just don't make enough, don't make a lot. And so all this is just a gigantic laundry list of what the donors who pay Madison Cawthorn actually want. Cawthorn doesn't care about any of this, doesn't care about you. He's already safe, he's got his money, and he's got his power, and that's it. And as long as he keeps serving his donors, well, that's not going to change.